What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of No Client Agent Privilege, aka the NoCAP podcast. It's your boy Evan, your boy Will. We are back under the Tiki Hut. Man, what a weekend that was. Oh, Saturday could have gone a little better. Monday, the Gators won. So be it.
Oh no. It's fine, I
It's
guess.
fine, yeah. I'm not
way-
a hater. I'm not a Gator hater, but I hate Gator fans. That's what I hate.
Yeah.
That's what I hate. I hate
I
Gator fans.
I hate the way that it came down at the end. The last
Yeah.
shot
You
with
can't get a shot off.
Yeah,
Come on
exactly.
Like, give me the Cinderella shot. Like, give me the
Hey, give me something.
give me the Hail Mary.
Even
Come
if
on.
he missed,
Yeah, just give me the cinematic. Yeah, give me
just
the
sad the way it ended. I feel like number 4, Cryer.
Yeah.
I forget his first name.
Yeah,
LJ Cryer.
Yeah.
He had, when he got the ball back on the kind of to the right of the top of the key, I felt like he had that open lane. He had the help defender was being dragged to the left.
Right.
He had that lane open going to
I
the
think
right,
so,
but
too.
He didn't see it, which is fine. I can't say I would have seen it.
Right. And we talk about this as if like we were in the situation we would have made the right decision.
It's all about like where guys were looking at the time, and but they were probably running a play.
Yeah,
which is
agreed.
What
normal.
They were doing what they
last
what they
play,
had to
run
do.
the play that coach drew up. Your Hall of Fame probably coach drew up, run it.
Right.
Like, so it's kind of one of those things where it's like we as fans and people watching, we can, go and judge and say this, that, and the other with regards to what we would have done or what he should have done. And we look at it from a full screen perspective.
Right.
And it's like, oh, well, he didn't see him. Well, you see him because he could see you. We see the whole court, So it is one of those things where it sucks the way it ended. But congrats to our boy Elijah Martin as well.
We had him on the show.
Yeah.
A while ago now
when he was still at FAU after their March Madness run for FAU. So again, kind of one of those things where, that's where we started with the podcast, and crazy to think that's where we've gone. I mean, Denver, making it to the Final Four. We talked about it on this podcast about making it this year, and no excuses. Like, we were meant to be in the Final Four, and they did what they did. I mean, again, losing to the Gators the way they did, they, probably had them beat. Like, they really, again, do I think, and I caught it. Oh, damn, I let it go. Record
These
that
bugs.
one. Oh, man, I'm their worst enemy out here.
But I think that they, showed a lot, and they're still going to have a really good team. The first round last year against Yale, sad.
Yeah.
They did what they had to do this year.
They got their revenge tour. They got their revenge tour.
Sure.
Like, to say they completed it, maybe not so, because I'm sure they all wanted to win that national championship.
Or at least make it. They had a really good shot against Florida.
They did. And again, at the end of the day, like, people didn't do some things, on both ends. Some guys had great games. Clayton really went off. Like, it is one of the things where those moments where, those moments were just made for March. Like, that game was made for March. Sunday or Monday night's game was made for March. Like, that's why we watch. Like, those 4 games or 3 games were why we all get so, enthusiastic about March Madness, literally to the T. So, congrats to the Gators winning it all. Houston, Duke, and obviously Auburn. Congrats to you guys for making it. Obviously, I don't know what you know about the NCAA with regards to, how you get paid out, from making it, so many games. But when you're in the tournament, every game you win is more money to your conference. So, like, the SEC racked it out. Like, they crushed it. So, like, Big 12, Houston making it was a big deal for the Big 12 conference.
That has implications on the revenue share.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where it's a big deal. Like, we talk revenue share. The revenue share side is a big deal in March because each conference is getting larger and larger, not donations, but winnings out of March Madness because the price is going up every year, to sponsor and stuff like that. So it is a big deal making it. I think that's where a lot of people don't, on the business side, don't really know that schools are making money to actually win and to actually make it. So it's like, getting there is great, but winning is even better.
Absolutely.
So conference-wise, you make your conference look really good.
I think it was interesting. Well, basketball is a team sport, obviously. Houston knows only one player, LJ Cryer, who had over 10 points. Over double digits.
Right.
You're not really going to win games like that. I don't think in college. Yeah, sure. Like it depends on how your defense is playing.
Of course, and that
you're gonna
Houston
stop the
is a
Gators
defensive
like
game.
that, and the Gators are just very offensive. Minded, I'd say
they run that offense.
The defense I'm not saying is like any slouch. Like they sit down and they play, but when Houston was doing their thing, Florida made that run. Like they do. And
that's the thing. Florida is willing to bet on their offense to beat whatever defense is on the court, and that's really what ended up happening the second half for that run. They were not stopping Houston, but they just knew
they were not stopping on offense.
That's exactly what I'm saying. They were not scared to go at Houston's defense because they trusted their offense more than they were fearing Houston's defense, which is what I think the mentality when I watched that second half. It was truly to the extent where not that Houston wasn't playing good defense, it was just Florida's offense was just that much better or playing that much harder, and that's really saying something. Because we all know how good Houston's defense is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like one of those things where it's like Gators, you could just say they earned it. Like that's about it. That's all you could say. Houston, you didn't lose off of effort. You didn't lose off of, refs screwing you or bad calls. Like there were a couple on both sides. Like there were some iffy calls.
It happens,
but it happens on every game. Especially in the national championship, it's going to happen. So no big deal. But like, again, we kind of get to the point where that game was whoever had the ball at last had the chance to win it or advance, and Houston had the chance, and
kind of blew it.
Yeah, I mean that's what happens. And again,
the shot was going to get blocked. If
I think so. I think so. So I mean, yeah, what would have actually happened? Who knows?
I would have liked a little bit more awareness. I forgot what ended up diving for the ball on Houston's side. I feel like maybe he could have noticed, or I'm sure he was yelling like, "Get the ball, get the ball."
No doubt.
But
again, kind of one of those things where we don't know unless we were on the court.
Right, yeah. It's sad the way that Houston went out. Another heartbreaker, of course, because they're close. So many
6 years in a row now.
They're so close. But I won't say so far because it came down to that last shot. So not so close, but so far. But at least they have a really good coach, really nice facilities, and they just upgraded their facilities.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a battle to get back, and
no doubt.
Keep the level of consistency that they have is just spectacular. So the confidence is there.
And that comes from a coaching staff.
Right.
Like he has literally preached from day one, this is how we do things at Houston, and they have all bought in.
5-minute miles for everyone.
Hey, you ain't on it, you're gone. That's it.
That's crazy.
Until we get it done as a team, and that's why Houston is so successful during March. So kudos to coach and their staff for making it, and kudos to the Gators again. I think that was a special team that they had that they got to finally kind of fall into place at the right time, and I think we talked about that on this show before, like falling into the right place at the right time, getting that momentum started, and really just riding that momentum train just down the tracks. And I think Florida did it the best out of all four teams. I think all four of them had momentum. I think all four of them had the opportunities. Again, a couple calls in the Houston game were a little iffy for Duke. Same thing. Denver took an elbow to the dome, and
that was a flagrant
run, but shouldn't have been a flagrant too, because that was definitely 100% like intentional to the head.
Yeah.
Which is like,
and he grabbed his like jersey too.
Like that's like automatic, flagrant 2 in the NBA. Like if somebody gets hit like that in the NBA, that guy's getting.
It looked like there was some intent
and a fine.
So especially when the same player, I forget how to say his name, but he got a technical in the Natty for slamming the ball.
Right.
So it's like you see the character kind of there. It's like, maybe he did mean to do that. I mean, again,
aggressiveness, like
kind
definitely
of like
doesn't go
Green
away.
Vibes now. Like you got to go on a game by game basis. You can't just assume that this player has a reputation.
But they did for the other kid, Chad Baker Mazzaro. Like that was his reputation going into that game. Like keep a cool head, blah blah blah. So they can't lose your national championship, stuff like that. And you definitely know that that's been a persona about him. But again, what that flagrant 2 ejection would that have changed the entirety of the game?
Probably.
Exactly. So again, what ends up happening off of a flagrant 1, 2 points on the ball? Okay, fair enough. But an ejection and a guy doesn't score, doesn't play defense on broom anymore. then what really happens? You know, so again, coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Right, you can't look at it like that. I mean, I get what
It's
you
over.
mean,
We're on to the next, and we're already in the NBA playoffs. Literally, what, a week away?
a week away.
So
playing
and then
tournament.
Denver goes ahead and fires their head coach and GM at the same damn time. So I mean, I think Steve Kerr said it, and I don't really agree with Steve Kerr on most cases, but like that man said, most teams are now owned by billionaires, corporations, and they want full control.
Right.
And it's honestly, I think if they see like one bad thing or something another, they'll just be like, all right, he's gone.
There's a lot of speculation. I know that there was that one press conference that Mike Malone had that was circulating about kind of like saying like, oh, the players, we have to get them to watch film. Like they don't watch it on their own. Like this, that, and the other thing. Like maybe he lost the locker room.
And that's
maybe they talked to Jokic beforehand and some of the leaders of the team.
Right.
But to fire the GM as well, that's probably on the side of like, you have the best player in the world. He's been the best player in the world for a while. The best thing you've put next to him is Jamal Murray. That's not to say that he's a bad player, but he's streaky. Like, he has his moments.
Right.
And they probably could have gotten something else. And even with what they have, they don't have that great of a bench.
Right. Their depth is very subpar for a championship caliber type mindset now.
The timing is just way off.
Yeah, how do you not let the man finish out the season?
I know that they had lost 4 straight before he got fired or something like that.
But 4 straight is not nothing.
The second latest firing in NBA history.
Crazy.
With 3 games left in their season. It's not a good way to go into the playoffs. Or maybe it is if a lot of players really didn't like him.
Again, kind of one of those things where it's like, unless I call somebody on Denver and literally get an inside scoop like a Shams to really know what happened. Like, it's very unlikely that anybody will ever know. It's kind of one of those things where it's like the in-house must have really been on fire. Like, to have something like that caliber. If it was like an assistant coach or something like that, maybe it wouldn't have been such a big deal. But your head coach and your GM,
and the assistant coach has never coached before.
Never coached. He's never coached.
Not even at the college level.
No. So my perspective on it is just so bewildered, to say the least.
Can you hire another head coach? Like,
I don't know. Who takes that job? How do you take that job?
I guess you can, because the Bucks fired Budenholzer, right? And then they hired Doc Rivers in the same season.
Yeah, I mean, you can hire for sure, but like,
who takes the job?
How do you take that job? Like, don't get me wrong, you get 30 opportunities.
What are you going to do? Pick up a coach that's been fired?
Yeah, literally. Literally, that is what you would have to do. Hire somebody that has, say, they brought in a championship caliber coach that's already been fired. Like, that would be the only way to make that happen. So, again, to me, how that would work, I don't know. Denver was going to have to figure it out, but I guess you just ride the coattails of Jokic to the promised land again and see what happens.
Right.
Hopefully, the coach that their interim head coach has something up his sleeve that they don't know about, or they think highly of him or something like that.
I doubt they just wanted fresh ideas.
I guess, I don't know. I mean,
fresh ideas again from somebody that
how do you not start it? Yeah, how do you not start it with somebody who has just a little bit more experience, like even a little bit more, just a little bit. So, I mean, again, I don't really truly understand the logic behind it. It's a tough situation for especially the most winningest coach in your franchise's history. It's like, okay, like, let's just fire our best coach
Doesn't seem like he's had much to say about it either. He seems like a pretty vocal
I feel like
guy.
What is he supposed to say? Like, if I'm him, I'm just saying,
might be different than...
Yeah, I'm just, at this point, if I'm him, I'm just
he
saying...
might be shocked.
Yeah, to be honest. If I'm him, I'm just like, the hell did I miss? Like,
hey,
I'm fired? Or like, they dismissed him from a meeting. I heard that. And they sent him out of the meeting. So I'm guessing there must have been some really bad back and forth between front office,
ownership.
Ownership, it must have just been bad.
And that's the only thing I can think of. Ownership.
That will send you out the door.
And that's what it is now. Like, businesses can put stakes into like that didn't used to be.
No. That's what Steve Kerr. That's what I was saying. Steve Kerr is saying that's what the
same thing
the
with
league
football's
has gone
doing that now, right?
Basically, yeah.
But that's not like because I know like the Packers are publicly owned.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think they're like the only team that is.
They are. They're still the only team that's left like that.
I know, like private equity,
yeah.
but that's individuals. Like that would be like you and I.
Yeah,
right?
but it's like
be businesses
it
too.
depends on what it would depend on who owns the firm, like who owns that private equity firm.
Right. Okay.
Because if somebody has a certain amount of percentage of the firm of that PE, it becomes that whoever owns the majority makes the decision.
Okay.
So again, say somebody who doesn't like this guy, doesn't know basketball, and he goes into the office and he listens to this guy talk, and he's blah 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 blah. And the guy's like, I don't like this guy. You know what? Let's get him out of here.
Yeah, they might need to revisit that.
So again, and again, that is a whole leagues issue. Like that's
a board of governors.
NBA. That's one of those owner meetings where they close the doors and they start. Adam Silver starts trying to make some sense out of all of it. But again, that's trying to get billionaires to work together on stuff like that.
Yeah, no.
Good luck.
Big no.
So
looking into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Just a idea. Best-of-5 for the first round. Do we want to see like last year? Do we want to see the Thunder beat the Pelicans 4 games in a row? Do we want to see the Atlanta Hawks get beat 4 games in a row?
Yes, I do. I think I like the 5-game first round series. I think so.
So it'll be 3 games in a row then, as opposed to 4.
Yeah.
So 4 is too much. I
think for the first round, if you can't win 3 games, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
Okay. But the NBA is not going to do it though because
too much money. Too much money.
And you're talking added games.
You're talking
they've added playoff games. Yeah.
You're talking about tens of millions. You turn it into a 5-game.
Yeah, they play in
actually, you're probably talking hundreds of millions because you're talking how many rounds? That's what? 6 rounds? Or 6 games?
What? The first round is
6 games. 8 games.
Is it not?
100. Then it's definitely
it's 4 on each side, right? No, it's more than that.
Is it 4 on each side?
It has to be more than that.
Either way,
it's 4.
If there's more than 4 games.
Well, it's 8 teams, then it's 4 teams, and then it's 2 teams. So it has to be 4 games on each side, which makes 4 series on each side.
So that means that's hundreds of millions.
So you're losing, I don't know, if you want to do the math real quick, you're losing at least 4 games. You're losing 2 games. You're losing at least a maximum of 8 games.
At least. That's saying 2 from each game, from each series.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the NBA will not get rid of that. That's too much money to be possibly had.
Right.
Too much, again.
Baseball did it.
And baseball has been doing the most changes. Baseball has been doing the most changes, and unfortunately, baseball.
But they still have money for some reason.
But baseball has done it the best with regards to changing the game for the better out of everybody. Baseball has done the best changes for the better. The pitching clock, the game changing innings for games for playoffs, the home run bat, like the bomber bat, like stuff like that. Like all these changes that are happening for baseball is a better logic for fans.
Right. Even a safety standpoint, putting the netting up.
Yeah, we've already seen so many bad accidents happen.
Yeah, because my philosophy was when I first heard about that was like, okay, well, fans want the balls, but you're not going to catch it. You're not going to catch a ball that's coming at you like that.
No. That's
you're going to catch a ball that's popped up in the air. You're not going to catch a ball that's going directly. You're going to hit the face.
Majority, 90% of fans will get whacked in the face off of those.
Right.
Like that.
Especially if you don't have a glove. Yeah. And if you don't have a glove and you're catching it with your hand, you're
definitely gonna break a finger.
You're gonna break something.
So I agree with that. Like that again. Talking about best of 5, best of 7.
Right. Because baseball's first round is best of 5.
Right.
Now.
And I like that.
I think no, you're right. Maybe best of 3.
Is it bet? Yeah. Well, technically,
I think it's 3, 5, and then 7. I think that's what
3, 5, and 7.
Yeah. Well, I think the wild card round is 3.
I don't know. You have to Google that one.
I can do that. Yeah.
Sure. But anyways, I mean, I agree with the NBA. With what you said, it'll never happen because it's just too much money to not be had. So it's like,
best of 3.
See, I like that. Honestly, for the playoff, that's how the play-in should be. 3.
So it's 3, 5, 7.
I like that.
I like that too.
But honestly,
3.
No, I like the 3 for the play-in, first round.
Best of 3 for the play-in. That would change how they do it right now, though.
I know that would,
Because they have the whole
no,
the first seed gets 2 chances to make it. The 8th seed gets 2 chances to make it.
No,
but if you're
never
the 10th
mind.
seed, you got to win 2 in a row. So
I take mine back. For the 3 for the play-in. I take that back.
And they'd have to play.
I know.
Quick. That's a lot of.
I know.
Basketball.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, never mind.
But best-of-5 for the first round.
I agree with
see that.
I like that. But it'll just never happen because of the money, the amount of money.
They need all the money they can get right now because.
Yes, agreed. Yeah,
ratings is
not good.
Ratings. Not that it's tanked.
No,
it just hasn't been
But you're supposed to be the most entertaining. One of the most entertaining leagues in the world,
right?
And you're still having issues creating momentum and growth,
interest
in your highly touted, young youthful league. You're trying to bet on these young youthful guys because the King is done. King's got 2 more years. He's going to be gone.
Right.
Bryce is in there. He gets
At
1
least
year
they have
with the
2
boys.
years to figure it out.
I mean,
they could figure it out.
You better figure it out pretty soon.
I mean, it's not that difficult to change a marketing scheme.
I mean, we say that, but we've been banking
it is difficult to get people on the train.
I agree with that.
If that makes sense. That's the
why
hard you need to start pushing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You need to figure it out now so you can start pushing it down people's throat in the first place.
I'm sure that they're talking about it. That's a business. They're a business. They understand. There's a lot of smart people over there.
I agree, but even still,
unless they really don't know, then they're in trouble. But we sitting right here, we don't know.
Yeah, I could call Wahid and he could tell me what the league is saying, and then we go from there. Let's call Wahid, see what he's got cooking, see what they got cooking at the big boy office, and see what they think. So, see what they got cooking in the back office.
Right.
What's Adam thinking?
I don't know.
Let's get him on the phone. Pat gets him on the show. We can get him on the show. I feel like. I'll call
it cost something.
I don't know. He usually goes when he's in Indiana. That's all he goes for. They get lucky on that one. So But
from one what?
No, yeah, I was gonna say
from one playoff to another, NFL playoffs.
Yep.
Not that it's anytime soon or necessarily relevant, but the rules. There were some rules changes last week at the owners' meeting.
Right.
Do we want to see divisional rounds change to the best? The team with the best record gets the home field advantage. I agree with that. Me personally,
I get both sides of the argument. I understand. I won my conference. I won my division. I should get home field advantage. But if I have 2 other divisional runner-ups that won or had better records, does that person actually get a better seating than I do, even though I'm the better record?
Right.
So this is what happens, and that was funny because I was thinking about it for weightlifting. For weightlifting, you get automatic qualifiers. Your first 4, so your 4 divisionals, and then from each region. So same divisionals, they automatically qualify for states. No matter what, first place at the region.
But they could be ass.
If your region sucks, is it your fault though?
No.
Or should I say, if your region is competitive and you're relatively the same as them, is it your fault?
No.
Exactly. So my logic is the weightlifting logic for high school.
Mm-hmm.
You have your 4 regions.
Mm-hmm.
First place automatically qualifies.
Mm-hmm.
Home field advantage.
Right.
After that, everyone else can suck it because they didn't win in their region.
Well, hold on for a second though, because
yes, they might be better
automatically. Yes. Right, but what I'm saying is the first 4, like you said, automatically qualify.
Automatic.
But that's in the division, where if you win your division, you automatically qualify. But does that necessarily mean that you need home field advantage?
That's the logic. That's what.
But they don't get home. There's no home field.
No,
it's not
it's a neutral site period.
Right.
So, but again,
that's what I'm saying. But it's sure, the division winners qualify.
Exactly.
In football, the division winners will qualify. But should they get the home field advantage?
Right.
Probably not.
And that's the logic. That's what I'm saying. I get both sides. You have your 4 champs,
right,
that automatically get there. They get to play there.
4 regional champions.
4 regional champions.
Right.
They get to play. They automatically get there. Now, not to say that number 4 here,
or number 5 that makes it,
or he could be number 7 for all we know.
Right.
He could be barely better than the other 3's top 3. He just qualified because he was number one. So, and that's actually happened to multiple guys of mine who have won the district, won the regional, automatically qualified. Then we go look at the list. He's up here in the divisional, the regional champions. Then we go down here to numbers 2 through 20 or 2 through 16, and he's all the way down here at number 11. Even though he won the district or in the regional. That's does he get home field advantage? So it's the same. Does he deserve home field advantage? I don't know. He's the regional champ. Does he not? Is it his fault that his region is not that strong?
Yeah, but you could still be a strong team, though.
I agree. I'm talking singular. I'm talking singular
but
here.
If the division sucks,
right?
If the division sucks,
is it your fault?
Then you should be beating the teams in your division. And okay, maybe you don't beat the teams outside of your division, but if your division sucks and you suck too,
we can argue about this all night. There's literally, you can literally say both sides are right and both sides are wrong. Like literally, like you could say like because they won the division, they get home field advantage.
Because then it comes down to the only scenario that I'm thinking about that's like maybe a gray area is like, okay, let's say a team is 10-7, and then the division winner was 9-8. There's not much of a difference right there.
Right.
They kind of had the same record.
The same.
Or if they have the same record, then I think that the tiebreaker, no matter what, should go to the person that won the division because that means
I could agree with that.
But if it's like a game apart, and now you're saying, "Oh, we're going to go to Minnesota instead of Los Angeles because the Vikings won one more game,"
okay,
then it might be a little bit tense,
right?
And then it's like, what do you do then? Which is why they'll probably end up keeping it the way it is because that's the way it's been.
I think so too.
And it doesn't happen every year that like
teams are relatively close. Yeah.
And like you said, yeah, it doesn't happen every year that like there's a lot of teams that are relatively close,
right?
Especially because you added, even though they're doing 18 weeks now.
I know.
18 games.
18 games.
You kind of helped break the tiebreakers by having an odd number of games.
Right.
So that kind of helps, but now they took it away. So it's probably here to stay. It's not going to change, but it would be interesting to see.
I think
if
your logic, I think your logic makes the most sense. Like the best team should have home field advantage,
right?
But how do you and I think it all kind of comes back to how do you fault the guy who won their divisional? How do you fault them for their division being shitty or tougher, depending on how you look at it?
Right.
Like say if they go back to back with everybody, then yeah, your division's going to look like shit. Say like the NFC South. Panthers beat the Bucks. Bucks beat the New Orleans. New Orleans beat the Panthers twice. Panthers beat the Saints once. Bucks beat the New Orleans twice. And then all of a sudden, Atlanta, they win, only one divisional game, but they have the best record. It's like, does Atlanta deserve, even though they have the worst record? Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's really, man. Like I said, I can understand both sides' arguments are
it's
winnable.
A good topic.
It's a good winnable. It depends on how you sell it. How do you?
My selling point would be if I was really at that table arguing this, I'd say, look, if the difference between the two teams is 4 wins or more, then it should go. Is it? That's too much.
That's a lot of wins. In the NFL, that's a lot of wins.
So I guess I see what you're saying. That team wouldn't be a wild card team at that point.
Exactly. You'd have to have it.
All right. So it'd be like, okay, because
we can go on and on about it.
I think 2 wins is too little of a difference.
2.5.
2.5.
Yeah.
So if it's 3 or more, then that team deserves home field advantage.
Sure. Let's go with that because two wins in the NFL is okay.
Yeah, that's comparable.
You have somebody who have a tie that would make the half, but like again, we're splitting hairs here with regards to what actually makes a difference. But like
that's how they're going to do it if this is a real thing.
Right. If they come to it, if they come to a decision or they come to an argumentative point where they want to keep going back and forth with this, where is the line? The line, and where are we going to stop, and what are going to be the pros and cons, and what's going to outweigh this, what's going to outweigh that? Do we go with 2.5 or do we go with 3? There's a lot to really suggest that it should change because of some competitive advantage. If we're going to be serious, the only reason you should technically have home field advantage is if you play outdoors during that time. Like that's truly like we're saying. What teams did we bring up?
Buffalo.
But no. What did we talk about earlier? The team that went to travel this year.
Los Angeles
the Vikings went to LA, right?
Right.
So Minnesota plays in a dome.
They
LA
both do, but technically because of the wildfires, LA played outside.
Oh, they
played in Arizona.
Oh, they did play in AZ. So they played on a neutral site technically.
Yeah.
Okay, but
then again, kind of like that's a bad 2 teams for me to use as an example.
No, you screwed that whole argument up now. We got to go back to square one. Let's start the episode over again. We're going to redo this whole topic.
There's other teams that you could throw in there.
I know. Like the Panthers a few years ago who won it at like 9-7, like you said. Right. Like, and there was the NFC North that I think had 2 teams that were like very competitive.
Yeah, probably the Vikings and the Lions.
Right, and so again, kind of one of those things where it's like, no, probably not the Lions a few years ago, but
it depends how many years ago.
Green Bay probably. Green Bay. But anyway, but my point was they probably were pretty more competitive in the NFC South. That really wasn't that good. You know, they haven't really been that good. Right. And again, a 9-7 Panthers or 9-7 Buccaneers at the time, you know, whatever it may be, could be pretty tough to kind of to validate your, you know, like you were saying, your point to give them home field advantage versus, say, let's just say Aaron Rodgers at the time and his 10-6, you know, Green Bay that lost the division to a, you know, 10-6 or 11-5 Vikings.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So again, are the Packers a better team than the Panthers? Yeah. And their division was great, you know. But again, the Panthers won their division. So it's like, do you fault the Panthers for not having a more competitive division, or do you give...
Well, that's why I was saying, like, they could still win their out-of-division games. Like, if they're getting, like, demolished by the out-of-division teams that they're playing, and they're just getting by in the division because the division sucks, you're right, you can't fault them for that.
Right, exactly.
But
so that's
at the same time, is it faulting them just because you're taking away
home field advantage during the playoffs? Hell yeah. That's what we're trying to say, is that makes such a big difference. That's what we're saying. Like, if home field advantage in the playoffs wasn't such a big deal, we would just say, no, it shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Why does it matter? If
neutral sites for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, yes. Like, yeah, that would be... And we're trying to say that because of this and that home field advantage matters so much. Does it? Like, obviously it must. So that's why I'm saying, like, with regards to your point, I think I agree with you on honestly, I agree on both sides. Like, could you do that? For sure. For sure. You could definitely give the better seeded team a better seed with home field advantage, even though they didn't win their divisional.
Right.
Or they weren't divisional champs. Now again, do you fault the divisional champs if they do have a shitty quote unquote division and they still won it with the majority of wins coming from the division, even though they lost their, you know, out of divisional games? I don't know. It's just tough for me. It's tough for me to say that team doesn't deserve their home field advantage for winning their division.
Right.
So again,
I'm sure it would be a lot hard for other people to say.
I guarantee we could probably talk about that all.
It was a great topic. Yeah. Leave something for everyone out there. You know, if you want to throw your opinion in the comments, we always love the opinions. Good, bad, ugly, nice, kind, whatever the case may be. You know.
Yeah, I mean, this is always growing and always listening, and you know, trying to figure out where we stand in the podcast world. I mean, again, trying to grow and be better every episode is the goal. And
one more thing before we close out. This is actually, by the time this episode's probably up, it'll be a year that we've been doing this.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
April 11th was the first episode of Evan and I, and you know, now it's April 9th as we record this, but just wanted to
a year.
You know, say thank you for all the support. Cow. You know, hopefully you guys enjoy the reels, shorts, TikToks. You know,
we're cranking it out on all platforms.
Yeah, you know, we're always trying to step it up. You know, this didn't exist when we first started. You know,
shout out Katie, our girl Katie, with the sign. she hooked us up with that one. I mean, we've gotten better and better with recordings and uploading and cropping and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So a year in the making, I guess you could say, and
yeah.
More to come for sure. I mean, especially as the agency grows, a lot of big stuff coming our way, and hopefully, knock on wood, a lot of big things happening these next few weeks, and draft is right around the corner for both, and we ready to rock and roll on both sides. So here we go. But thank you again for I guess you say our 1 year anniversary episode. We'll leave it at that. It's been a pleasure, and we're looking forward to the future for sure. Hopefully, more years to come. It's your boy Will, your boy Evan, and thank you for watching another episode of No Client Agent Privilege, aka NoCAP Podcast. And we are out.
Peace.